And welcome to
the High as Fuck podcast with your boys
Matt Jackson
and Joe motherfucking Kole. What's up, guys?
How y'all doing? We got a great interview tonight for the show, and we got the
we are so stoked right now for an interview with the man, the myth,
we got the King
Beast,
jaikole.
What's up, y'all?
How you doing, jaikole?
What's going on, people, man? I'm glad to be in the building, man. Doing big things, man. I've been excited about this interview for a minute, brother. I'm stoked.
I appreciate that, dude. Obviously, you know this is an audio cast, so but how you been lately? I haven't seen you since Pure Pro Wrestling days.
Yeah, I mean, I've been good. I think the last time I was out Pure Pro was maybe 2018, 2019.
Oh, yeah.
So as far as Pure Pro, I love what Jimmy is doing. Jimmy has asked to come back last year, but I've been so booked up from the times I left him that we couldn't have the schedule, man. I've been all over the place, so that's why. But definitely one day soon, again, I'll be back down to Pure Pro Wrestling.
That would be freaking amazing to see you down here, because me and my co-host that I have now, Joe Kole, he would love to see you in the ring, because he had just saw a match of yours recently with Noel.
Yeah, Noel up there. Noel up there in Atlanta. It was Championship District Wrestling. It was my first time wrestling up there. I had a good time. That's like an AEW kind of show. A lot of their students and stuff like that have their own company and things like that. So it's cool.
So, I've been researching you a little bit because Matt has been introducing me as the co-host of his show to, some of the stuff I'm green to, some of the more indie promotion stuff that I, never really watch. And so it's been really interesting getting to know things that Matt is introducing me to. And from my perspective, I'm curious as an actor, because I have always been a thespian in theater, in and out of theater my whole life. And the crossover between wrestling and acting, like theater, movies, whatever. What was your introduction to the acting world, and what really got you to break your chops and interested in the world of performance?
When I was a kid, I was really big on television shows. I watched a lot of television shows. I watched a lot of movies. And I spent a lot of time in front of the television, because when your parents are at work and stuff like that, I mean, you got the TV. And my mom had tons of movie sets. She had Godfather, Scarface. She had everything that I could think of. Fifth Element. She had a lot of movies. Star Wars collection. So I spent a lot of time just wondering, how do they do this? Like, how do they do what they do? Like, how do they create, these moments on screen? At the same time, I was still watching, pro wrestling like every Monday and Saturdays and Sunday Night Heat. But I actually got into acting before I got into wrestling. A lot of people don't know that. There are a lot of people right now that think that I'm trying to transition into acting, but I was an actor first because I couldn't find a wrestling school in Maryland at the time. But I was able to find an acting school. So I actually auditioned, and in 2008 or 9, I auditioned to get into an acting school. But even before then, I was in elementary school and I was in plays. They had us in a lot of plays and things like that at a young age. So, and that was things that the school was doing. My parents wasn't trying to make me an actor or anything like that, but the school environment, they would just put you in plays and things like that and have you in front of people. And you know what I'm saying? So as I got older and I got a little able to kind of move around on my own, I auditioned to get into an acting school by the name of John Robert Powers. John Robert Powers is not even around anymore, but I auditioned and then I got in and then I had to take classes and things like that. So that's where it started. And then, then I kind of slowed down on acting and then I kind of sped up on wrestling. And then when wrestling I got it where I wanted it, I continued to kind of start acting a little bit more. But it's just the whole thing. It's very similar when you think about it. You're still on a stage, if you look at theater and things like that, it's a lot of similarities in acting, and it's all performance based at the end of the day, So just being a kid and just being mesmerized by all these different things and these characters, and you know, that's what got me involved in it.
Right. That's, I mean, you know, last week we did an interview with Zombie Dragon, and he was talking about being, you know, involved in just mesmerized by the guys on his video game. You know, that he didn't even realize were real people.
He didn't even know they were real people, dude.
And then he started watching, he was introduced to the world of professional wrestling,
and
he's like,
Georgia.
That's what I want to do with the rest of my life. So that, you know, to hear somebody's origin story and to know how similar, and I keep saying this every time, and I probably will every time, how similar our stories are to wanting to get in the business compared to how these guys actually got into the business.
Oh yeah, definitely. You start off with this like dream,
Yeah.
and you start off with these thoughts as a kid, and you don't know exactly what it takes to get there. I've been there. I'm pretty sure Kole remembers. I was in the ring. I trained. I put some little work in there, and I found out real fucking quick. Like, this ain't a game, dude. This ain't fake. This is get in that fucking damn ring and get it done. And so many times being slammed, like, that helped me realize, you know, as a fan. And when I went into it, I was like, oh, I can do this. I can do that. This is easy. Once you get doing it, it's not.
No.
Not what you think.
Right.
Definitely not what you think. But with that, what are some of the, because I don't have it right here in front of me, but what's the last movie or show that you did? What was since we're talking about movies?
IMDb.
Well, as far as movies, I've done a few movies that were mainly on the independent level, and that two movies actually is called Twice.
Yes.
It's more of like a street kind of driven kind of thing, and then there's another one called Redemption, where there's a guy that he did some things in the streets, and he went to jail and he came back home, and he's trying to redeem himself, but people like my character, Mitch, is trying to get him back into the streets. You know what I'm saying? So I'm the guy that's selling him the guns and trying to get him to go on these hits again, and he's trying to turn his life around. So those movies, that one's called Redemption. It was one of our most successful movies that I was in on an independent level. You can find that on TV or Prime. It was directed by Antonio Jefferson. But recently, as far as like film and movie, I've been working on the TV show Mary Kingstown.
That's what it was.
Season 2. Mary Kingstown.
I think I seen some clips from that.
Mm-hmm. Mary Kingstown. It was actually filmed in Pittsburgh, season 2.
Yeah.
I'm
sorry, I didn't mean to clip you off there. Man, I saw this thing on your YouTube channel of your movie clips, and I can't remember what it was called, but yeah, it had a lot of your like segments of being in movie and acting. And man, you really kill it. I really get drawn into like your character or whatever the clips were. I was getting drawn into those little tiny segments, and that takes a lot. That takes a lot out of a person to do that. I mean, it's not just like you can just say, "Oh, I can do that." You know, like there might be a few out there that are lucky that are like, whatever. But but how is it? Okay, here's a good question right here. How's it different from acting in movies or a TV show compared to the wrestling? Yeah, the whole character creation of wrestling. Yeah.
As far as the difference, I mean, it's not much of a difference because, like in wrestling, to a certain extent, you have the ability to take this character to where you want. Let's just say, for example, WWE gives you a paper and say, this is how this guy looks and dresses and stuff like that. And then you might add your own season to it, your own kind of, persona or energy vibe into it. It's kind of the same thing in acting. So, like, if you have, like, a character, with me, I try to give a character, like, a voice, a walk, a certain facial expression, a certain, body stance form, stuff like that can make that character yours. So you still, even though they're giving you a character or they're giving you a role, you still have that space to kind of tweak it the way that you want. Even though it's already there, But as far as an indie wrestler, that's all my own creation, 100%. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of the same thing. You have to get into that mode of knowing, okay, this is the character that I'm going to be, or what kind of parts can I bring from myself. So when I look at like a movie that's like a let's say like a criminal type movie, I grew up in Baltimore City, so I was able to see that kind of stuff face to face. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been shot at before. I've been attempted robbed. I've been in fights and stuff like that in the streets of Baltimore. So when it was time for me to put that on screen, it was a lot easier also. So what a lot of people don't know about movies too is they also like to use people that were like if you see a movie of guys dressed up as police officers, sometimes those are actual police officers because they know how to move and talk, and they just have a certain aura about them that transfers it easier to screen too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's fucking cool to know. I didn't actually know that right there. I didn't know that at all.
That is interesting. I had never really thought about using of real, like, another example would be an EMT. If you had an EMT in a show, they would, instead of using extras, they would use the real professional.
Yeah, exactly. Because on some casting calls, they say real EMT exposure, is preferred. Or if you are, like, we would like to have you here because, I mean, that's half of the job right there. So yeah.
I've got something for you. Have you? I don't know if you have or not because there's a lot of shows for AEW and stuff like that. But have you been on any of their darks or elevations or anything like that? Or
TV? You know what? I'm actually that's one of my goals for this year. Actually, is to get on. But back in the day, a couple years ago, I did some extra work with WWE. But I haven't actually. I was an extra, but I haven't actually wrestled in any of their rings. But I was like an extra while.
EMT.
No, I was actually what is it? A rose? No, I'm sorry, not a rosebud. But what was the guy that they had? A No Way Jose Congo line guy. I was a Congo guy line.
Oh my God, I remember
WWE
that. Hold
Superstars.
on. I do. I mixed you up with someone else, but because there was another one of our guys, Anthony, the lightweight guy up here pro wrestling. He was an EMT. You were a motherfucking No Way Jose Condoline motherfucker, and I remember seeing it that night. Shit's coming back. It's been a long ass time, like since 2018, pretty much.
That's a long time.
So, guy, I literally had forgotten.
2019,
That's I had totally forgotten of that fucking moment in your life, for real.
Because you got to remember too.
You're probably dressed
I did that
up.
in 2019, and then what happened after that? COVID took us out, so we were all that cut everything out for like 2 years. You know what I'm saying? So
chance to do something, and then COVID happened and ruined it. That's
Well, you seen what Victor Roosevelt did? He was Bobby Lashley's sister. You know him, right? I know he's changed his name, but you remember him, right?
Oh yeah. He had a dress on, right?
Dreads. Yeah, he had a dress on. Yeah. He's the guy who's got dressed he's on tights and stuff. It's so cute, dude.
I think I know. Yeah. I've seen the boy there before a few times. Yeah, that's hilarious.
That dude was a Bobby Lashley sister, man. I guess you just, in wrestling, that's another thing I learned growing up.
You take any opportunity.
You take any top of your opportunity. You got to be the perfect opportunist, as Edge would say. You got to be the perfect opportunist, or as he was, But
it's the entertainment industry.
So I was thinking about this since I like the fantasy book a lot. We all know that. I was actually like you and Zombie Dragon, the two, y'all two, just thinking about watching y'all stuff. And there's plenty of other guys out there that I could talk about, but y'all two in Pacific right now. I could see y'all on a main stage somewhere, like AEW. Fuck Elevation, just put you on Dynamite, Rampage. Fucking whatever, NXT. I mean, dude.
Right.
From what I've watched, both of them on any show anywhere would work.
Okay, so I have this pitch in my head. So the size that y'all are, this would be a perfect tag team. I don't know why, but it would be a perfect tag team. I don't know if anybody would agree here, but Odyssey Jones and jaikole. The size.
You know what's crazy? Before you continue. There are a few guys that have inboxed me because they was like, he reminds me of you. People tell me that he reminds me of me and XYZ. You know, that's a cool compliment because I think that the way that he looks and that style a little bit, I didn't see anybody else in a while that kind of had a little similar look or feel of me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so. Yeah, he can definitely move.
He's one of my favorites right now. I am so big on Odyssey Jones. It's kind of embarrassing, but not embarrassing because he's a good worker. That man can roll, dude. I saw him against Akira Tozawa in the 2 different sizes. I was like, fuck, dude. And plus, you've done the African American print like Farouk did in the 90s.
Yeah.
And so did Odyssey Jones. He did an homage to Farouk as well. And so when I saw that and saw your tights, that your outfit kind of reminds me of Biggie Langston's too, as well, with the similarities. So that right there is I don't know. That's legendary shit right there. Because I mean, you're paying homage to your culture and to the ones that paved the way before you, and that's why I pick Odyssey Jones and motherfucking Kole to be a tag team in 2023, 2020, whenever.
The next Nation of Domination.
Next Nation of Domination. There we go. We need a new nation. We had the Hurt Business, but the Hurt Business, they were hitting on some elements, but I don't know. You take someone like Odyssey Jones and Jaikole, man, you got this, man. You got this. Bring in some other guys.
And I also want to say, to answer that question that you actually asked about why. So, what I want my goal is to be this year. When I step through AEW doors, I want everybody to look at me and say, this guy belongs here. You know what I'm saying? So when I wrestle there, my match has to mean something. I'm not trying to come there respectfully. I don't want to come there and just do a job, but I know that's the business and things like that. But I want those people to understand when I come there, I'm coming to make a name for myself. You know what I'm saying? So when the first impression is everything. You know what I'm saying? So I want to make sure that everything on my end is correct. Physically, mentally, everything, my gear wise. So when I walk through those doors, they say, okay, he belongs here.
You already have that presence in all these matches I've watched online with these companies that have good lighting, they have good, Titantrons, blah, blah, blah. Like, the work sometimes, and I already know that once he hits the curtains and he goes through that bitch and he lays in what he can lay in, because Tony Khan's easy to work with, you know what I'm saying? He lets them go, he trusts his guys. So if Tony Khan, that's where I want you to be. NXT is cool and all for the Odyssey Jones deal, because that'd be epic to start a Nation of Domination over there in NXT. It'd be fucking amazing. The new nation would be fucking amazing, right? But if you're talking about AEW and actually getting Jaikole to do what he do best, and just be himself and do what he does, do his thing. That's AEW. And once he steps through there, I don't care who he's going up against. Hopefully, it's a name. I'm hoping it's a name. I don't even care if he's got to squash Trent Beretta off the head. You know what I'm saying? Or I could just name anybody all day. You know what I'm saying? But that's the nature of the beast. You can just name somebody. You know what I'm saying? Just this guy squash this guy, blah blah blah. But I would like to see you go up against some big talent over there. Luchasaurus, fucking Wardlow, fucking Powerhouse Hobbs. Powerhouse Hobbs.
Absolutely. So, I would love to go with I would love to go with big men, bro. I do, because let me tell you something. There's not a whole lot of big guys if you look just overall in pro wrestling and even in this world. So when I get the opportunity to step in the ring with a guy half like my size or the same size, I gotta go all in, because there are things that I want to do that I can't do on a psychological level with a smaller guy. That wouldn't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? Like me going to the top rope on a guy that's like 175 pounds or whatever the case is, it doesn't make any sense. But I can come up the top rope on Will Hobbs. You know what I'm saying? If I what? So
now you got my juices running in my head, man. Now I'm like, wow, that'd be a great.
That's like Kane coming off the top rope.
Who?
Right.
Kane coming off the top rope.
Clothesline. Yeah. That's just some good shit right there, Like I could see you go up against. That's what I was saying to Zombie Dragon last weekend was I could just see you working with Finn Balor, Darby Allin, Just
Yeah.
the psychology of the matter is where I'm more at, I would say, most of the time,
Right.
because I'm thinking of characters and bouncing off characters on each other and
Yeah.
the diversity and their similarities and diversity, and there's
Yeah.
I don't really know. I guess that's the best way to explain, like the Bray Wyatts and the
All right.
Kanes and stuff like that. Like
Fantasy booking we're talking about.
yeah.
Ja,
And
my question for you, who is your number one, like, fantasy match in the business right now between WWE, AEW, whatever, or in each company? Like, who would you really, like, your number one person that you would want to work with?
I'm going to tell you what I think, and I know everybody's on him because he's hot right now. But I've always thought that this guy was a tremendous wrestler. Every time he stepped in the ring, it was refreshing. It was something. It was entertaining. It would be Sami Zayn. Sorry.
Oh my
I can't.
god.
Okay.
Really?
I can't.
Okay, that's
sorry.
WWE.
I've been waiting for this. What's going on with him right now, and like I've been waiting for this to happen. He's so talented.
Yes.
Man, I don't think that WWE understands like how talented this guy is.
Yeah.
I think the same way, man. Sammy's that shit, man. He's the new Daniel Bryan.
I love his, and I was just telling Matt this earlier, I love his baby face, too. So this move against Roman is great.
Is he still a baby?
I don't love his heel as much as, I mean, he's good. He's good across the board. But it's
I love his heel, man. I do love his heelness. I think I love him more as a heel.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. What about AEW? Who would you pick for that? Like if you so this is more obtainable at the moment is AEW, it seems like for guys like jaikole. Someone who's already got his foot fucking clean through a fucking door already, you know what I'm saying? Who's a guy right now, if you had an opportunity to face some, I don't care where, Elevation, Dark Elevation, fucking Dynamite Rampage, whatever. Who is that guy that you want to have your first match with?
I know this might not be, never say never, but I have a lot of reasons for why I'm going to say who I'm going to say. And it would have to be Sting. It would have to be Sting. It would have to be Sting. Yeah.
Hands down, other than Undertaker, the greatest in the business. So, of course, that would be the one. I mean, any kind. And this is what I said. I was talking to Zombie Dragon, and we're both WCW guys. So I was like, if you could book, because we had talked about fantasy booking with Darby Allin, and I was like, if you could work with Darby Allin right now while he's working with Sting, and be as a WCW guy, how awesome would that be?
Yeah, I think that was one of his guys too. Yeah. It's pretty crazy. Like things on people's, hit list, so to speak, and their bucket list. I mean, I would want.
Yeah, I mean.
So.
Yeah, and it's not so much of like, I watched him as a kid. It's not really that in general. It's the fact of what he means. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, to step in the ring with somebody like Triple H, like, you know how Daniel Bryan used to wrestle Triple H, like that's like, this guy. That means that you're good. You know what I'm saying? Like, to be able to get in the ring with somebody like Undertaker or Sting or Triple H, Flair, people like that.
That will mean that you've arrived, and I can feel that. Like I that's what I was asking. Is like, what is that one person who?
Now, how hard would that be to book from the size difference and the overall match?
Sting's a big guy. I mean, he's tall. He's small though.
I mean, I think it'd be a great fight though. I mean, but like, how hard would that be to book something with a legend like that? I mean,
What do you mean?
Yeah, I mean, it has to make sense. It still has to make sense. People have to want to see it.
Yeah, because they don't have. They can call it all in the ring if they want to. That's a pretty good match anyway. Half the time is when you just call it.
I was gonna
get
say,
in there and just do it. You know each other, just go in there and do it. But with someone like Sting, no one's really fought him. He's really hard to fight. Like you have to be. I don't know. Seth Rollins has got a chance, but guess what? He's got a name. Like he's got that notoriety everywhere. Worldly notoriety.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know. Maybe I'm getting on a tangent.
With Steve, though, he's one of those guys.
So many options.
He's one of those guys, Steve is, that you know for a fact that he's going to do exactly what he's supposed to do in the ring
Right.
at all times because he
Yeah.
is the greatest of all time.
Yeah, that is true. And he'll take a loss. But like I was thinking, like, would you squash him or would you actually work with him for like at least 10 minutes?
I mean, he's older,
Bro,
so I would give him.
Let me tell you,
Yeah.
my first official match that was actually a match. I had a tag team partner, and I tagged against the Barbarian from WCW.
Whoa.
And he had a tag team partner. I can't remember what his name was. I don't think that he was, but the Barbarian worked me through that whole match. You know what I'm saying? And everything that he had planned, it was great. The crowd reaction was great. This man pretty much controlled everything in that zone. You know what I'm saying? And I'm kind of nervous, like, oh shit, I'm wrestling the Barbarian. Like, how am I even going to fucking, you know what I'm saying? I'm nervous as shit. And we drove 5 hours to get there. I'm like, oh shit, Barbarian. You know what I'm saying? So it was a great experience, but he was one of those ring generals, and he would put me in submission. And, hey man, relax, you're good. Don't worry. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm overdoing it and trying to make sure that I'm doing my part because this is a legend right here. You know what I'm saying? So those kind of guys that have that old school mentality of how to actually work and not just wrestle, because we can always get in there and just wrestle. But from what the older cats would tell me, there's a difference between wrestling and working. Not everybody's a worker. You know what I'm saying? And a person like the Barbarian is a worker.
Yeah.
I'm a worker. You know what I'm saying? I have to do what makes sense logically, and I have to do, it has to make sense overall. You have to know how to work the crowd and control it and know what they want. And it's a team effort. You know what I'm saying? So you have to know those things in order to be a worker.
Okay. With that, you had a match with Barbarian, and but you knew that. So you said you knew 5 hours. You was traveling there, so you knew before you would get there that you were facing Barbarian that night.
No, actually, no, I didn't. The Barbarian was on the flyer, but he wasn't. The matches wasn't. This was a promoter by the name of Don West. It was West Virginia, APWA. They're not even running anymore. But he always had a lot of guys come down there. Huh?
Not the Don West.
No, not the Don West. This is a guy not the Don West. But actually, I remember years ago, this was like 2012 when I was wrestling at there, and Moose was there. I remember Moose was there, and he wasn't like out there like that, but he was still like trying to get out there. Like, I was on a bunch of shows with Moose before he even got to that, that point for real. But yeah, I mean, when I got there, it was like, okay, well, you guys are wrestling Barbarian and such and such. I'm like, what? What the fuck? Like,
so
you know what I'm saying? Like, no, it wasn't. No, Moose was there in another match with somebody else.
I thought you said you tagged with Moose. I was about to be like, oh
so
my god.
So you go into this
awesome.
tag team match, and he's like, you're going to be teaming with some, this guy against Barbarian, and you're like, oh, holy shit, I've got to get into the ring with a legend, and I didn't even fucking know about it.
That's crazy.
Right, and that might have been my first or second match, bro. Like, ever. It's like,
Jesus Christ.
That's what I'm saying. A legend's already built right here from the ground up. Get Barbarian. And that's the same thing with Zombie Dragon. He worked the card with Tajiri, but he didn't know he was going to have a match and have this whole cool-ass fucking dope shit with Tajiri.
Yeah.
Like, he ended up, like, the whole crowd thought it was going to be Tajiri versus Zombie Dragon, and he goes and spits the fucking mist with, like, Tajiri. Or does it at first. And then Tajiri's like, oh, yeah, that's awesome. And then they worked the tag team together. And so for Zombie Dragon, that was a big moment for him to work with someone he looked up to and shit like that.
That's cool.
And one of the greatest Japanese wrestlers of all time.
Absolutely.
So, and he got that shit from Muda. So, I mean, another guy that's just another legend from Japan. So, so you
a lot of Tajiri ECW stuff was crazy too, man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Loved it.
Have you ever worked Japan or anywhere outside of the, I guess, United States?
Other states.
I've actually worked in Canada.
Oh.
There's a company called Canadian Wrestling Elite that's ran by Danny Warren out there. And I was out there 2017, I believe. We did a couple venue shows like for festivals and stuff like that. Canada is huge, man. Canada is a big place, and honestly, their approach to wrestling on the indies is way different because they have shows like Monday through Friday. Like they don't like they're not just waiting for Saturday and Sunday, you know.
So I'm interested in that because like Zombie, he is working out of China.
Yeah,
and
he's
he
in China.
basically
Literally.
created the whole professional wrestling scene in China.
Yeah.
So
They called him down there to build this company from the ground up. They already had something going, but not much.
Yeah.
And they were like, come down and help us out. And then there goes Zombie dragging down. And
so I
he
asked
built the whole
him
company. It's
about the
crazy.
difference between the cultures of wrestling in China and America, and he was talking about how they just didn't have a wrestling culture in China, so he had to create one. I'm interested in hearing your story, too, about the differences, because I've always wanted to talk to professional wrestlers about the differences in cultures between professional wrestling circuits in Mexico, Canada, China, different countries in America, the differences.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to tell you this, just from what I've seen. They take it. It seems that they take it a lot more serious than the United States does, as far as wrestling. Like it's a serious thing over there. It's not like, what I'm saying. That it's comedy involved, but these people, they're ready to see you. They're paying to see you, and their reactions are a little bit different when it comes to flashy moves. They have a lot of different ways of expression. Like clapping and they're not waiting. They're not always waiting for the flashy moves. A lot of those people are waiting for in Canada, waiting for the technical stuff or the power in it. Feeling emotions and stuff like that. They're not really caught up in a lot of the things that the United States wrestling fans are caught up in. It's weird because you don't even feel like you're wrestling.
Because you watch people like Chris Jericho or Chris Benoit, people from Canada like Bret Hart. They're all very technical wrestlers. So
Vulture's not from
I wonder.
Canada, but,
I guess I guess my assumption is that you could kind of follow the differences in culture and professional wrestling by watching the people who come from. I mean, obviously, who come from those cultures, right?
Oh, yeah,
so,
right.
You see the difference between Tajiri in Japan and his style of wrestling versus Chris Jericho's or Chris Benoit's or. They're still very technical wrestling
Japan wants you
in
as
both,
your
but they're
American
just
self.
more so. Like in Japan, as Tajiri is like,
because like Tajiri coming here is a difference for us. 'Cause he's from Japan.
Right.
If
And then when he went to WWE,
they want us for America.
it was just like,
yeah.
Yep. So.
3 different people.
Yeah, definitely, because they have to go to different promotions. They have to be
Yeah.
so many different styles and shit like that. So I want to get to the Black History Month part. And who is your all-time favorite singles superstar?
African American
Yes.
superstar.
Sorry.
So
Sorry.
somebody must be smoking that loud, man. I hear a lot of coughing going on over there.
That's what we do on here on this High as Fuck podcast.
You must be smoking that kryptonite.
I don't know what the fuck it's called.
All right, Matt.
Good Lord, man.
So, this is February, and it's a special, month for us for African American History Month. So, Matt was trying to ask before he started coughing, who is your favorite singles wrestling competitor from the African American community?
Oh man, and bro, it's just so. That's very difficult to answer. I'm gonna be honest with you. It really is because there's one guy that made me say, hey, I want to become a professional wrestler, and then there's another guy that said, hey, that's who I wanna be like. That's who reminds me of myself.
All right, well then give me the two. Give me the two because I'm interested in the two. The guy who made you want to do it, and the guy who.
And I tell this story, on other interviews. But I'm not gonna go deep into it just for time's sake. Just I know you guys got to watch the pay-per-view and everything. But the person that I was watching wrestling years before this with my pops, but it wasn't until I seen The Rock come out that I actually said that, hey, this is what I want to do. Until I seen him, a black man come out and had the character, you know, he had so much of a character in swag when he came out there, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? And that's what the entertainment aspect, you know, drew me in. Like, hey, what is going on here? You know, once he came out with the corporation after that Survivor Series, when he joined Vince McMahon and he came back and he came out that night, I said, yo, this is freaking amazing. You know what I'm saying? This is what I want to do. You know, and from there, the person that really got me in the mindset of like, hey, it's Mark Henry. Mark Henry reminded me of myself in the storylines, the things that he went through, and, you know, him being a big guy and stuff like that, the way he moved. He also trained with the Hearts also at one point, you know. But yeah, Mark Henry was that guy that even today a lot of people say, hey, you remind me of Mark Henry with like, you know, body frame and things like that. But I did study a lot of big guys. I studied, you know, other guys too as well. But he was one of the guys that he reminded me of myself. You know what I'm saying? So in the ring, he's very, very talented in the hell job. Even if you watch some of his stuff in the '90s when he first came, you know, and he's a monster. You know, he's a monster.
So
I'm right about it then. I said the same thing.
I did not pin down the difference between the entertainment factor and the difference between how you carry yourself, and I get that now. I really I could see The Rock, of course, as who he is, Dwayne Johnson for entertainment value. Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. Like,
oh yeah, definitely.
That's The Rock. And then Mark Henry for how you carry yourself, the size of your, like, psychologically, it makes sense.
Yeah, because you have to have psychology and size.
Yeah.
As well in character, and there's so much psychology in it. That's why I love wrestling so much.
There's so much to think about, right?
It's just crazy as hell.
And it's funny because, like, those of us who, like me, who actually really, like, contemplated trying to break into the business, if I could have ever found anything to, like, a wrestling school to be able to, like, if I would have known how to break in, I would have tried.
Yeah, me too. I should have went with Callis when he was doing it in high school.
Anyway, the reason I say that, from people who are interested in that psychological aspect, because everybody is a fan of wrestling now, especially that we're older, is a fan of the psychology, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
would have to be.
To be that, and then instead of having gone into the profession of wrestling and being able to break into that profession, I went the other route and just focused all on psychology, and that, you know, and so being those people that are interested in that and, you know, connecting on that, it makes sense that, you know, you go in two different directions with your career.
Yeah,
you could be a professional wrestler, or you can be a counselor.
Yeah, which I also say that's your profession, is psychology in the first place. So, but in wrestling, that you want to be a wrestler, but you got half of it. Yeah, you got something out of it, that has something to do with you know, wrestling. And I've gotten to get in the ring and do a little bit of what I wanted to do, and I always wanted to be a manager, but Jimmy Love, you know what I'm saying? I gotta wait for him to say yo. He's got ideas.
Man, I mean, there's always opportunity, and that's where some people, like, I understand, like, I always try to tell people there's always something that you can do, you know, if you aren't able to be a wrestler or don't want to be a wrestler, you want to be involved in the business, there's always something for you to do to work to whatever you want, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, you never know. I would never say never, but sometimes you just gotta go do, you know, you gotta go for it on your own, you know?
Yep. I tried it out.
Absolutely, bro.
I tried it out, and I just was like, you know what? Like, I really don't have the I guess the transportation at the moment, and the to have to be able to get to everywhere. I don't have that actually at the moment. So when I was doing it and stuff like that, I just, you know, there's no way of getting to every place there is. You know what I'm saying? And so that's where my problem was. Yep. But so I just became podcaster, someone who just talks about wrestling, which is something that I always wanted to be too, but back when I was growing up, this was never a thing.
Right.
This was never a thing. Interviews, yeah. So this is normal. What we're doing right now is normal, but what I do on a normal basis, you know, with the podcast and the reviewing and the prediction videos and all that stuff, that's a part of the whole world too. So, and I get opportunities like this, which is an amazing opportunity that I got tonight.
So Last question.
Favorite, because I know there is a couple African American tag teams out there.
Well,
and I love
tag teams, but I was gonna say, and this is I think what we closed with Zombie Dragon on too.
I mean, you have Butch Reed and Farouk.
As an African American, and we're on that part of things. As an African American in the profession, what is the or did you face adversity?
There we go.
Did you have trouble because of being an African American or like Zombie Dragon said it was a benefit to him because he was an African American under a mask.
Oh yeah, he said he got problems in the streets, but
yeah.
As a masked character he really didn't get none.
So
you mean like problems in the wrestling business?
Yeah, in the wrestling business, yes.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say this because I know like that's a weird topic and some people like to kind of make it more than what it actually is. But I'm just going to say this as far as being black in pro wrestling in certain areas, in most areas today, most black wrestlers don't have the problems that the wrestlers had back in the day. Not even close near it. You know what I'm saying? We do have to work a little bit more harder than most people because to get those spots. But if you're not really working on yourself and you're not doing what you're doing, then you won't get those results that you want. I don't think personally that I've had those issues, and most people don't. I've had those issues in the world, in corporate America, but I've gotten mostly by promoters and people like that, nothing but what I gave them, which was respect. You know what I'm saying? If those promoters see me working hard, they will reward me with good matches and opportunities to get the goals. So I mean, it's really how hard you work, and if you're not that guy, you just may not be that guy for that place. But today, I don't think most black wrestlers can scream race as an issue right now in this day and age. I don't think so.
That's a positive. That's a positive commentary on the business. It's good to hear. I appreciate that.
Because everybody's like, well, why ain't this guy getting a push? Why ain't this guy getting a push? Why ain't he got the championship? And you're looking at his glitz and glamour. You're not looking at his work ethic behind the scenes, bro. You don't know nothing about what he's doing. You don't know how hard he works behind the scenes that you don't see on TV just because he's glitz and glamour. Let's take Seth Rollins right now. Hey, does he have a belt?
Nope.
He does not have a belt right now. Should he have a belt of some sort?
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people. I mean, that's just.
I'm not saying that's not behind the scenes, but I'm just saying that
there's not enough belts.
There's
not enough titles to go around. But for all the people that work.
Maybe I went off the hinge with that one. What I was trying to say is like, with that, it's a lot of people want, hey, why I want this guy to be champion, but they're not thinking about these indie, like with anything with pure pro wrestling, with anything that's out there. They're not seeing the behind the scenes. They don't know how hard these guys are working. And this is why this guy that you don't like is the champion or not even the champion, just getting all the wins and getting all this is because
he's the workhorse. Roman is the workhorse. And even though I don't like him.
You don't like Roman, but he's a workhorse.
He is the one that got rewarded with the title because he works harder than anybody in the business. Yeah. I mean.
And you got to be up to John Cena's level now.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not Hogan no more that we're chasing for. We got to chase for being better than John Cena,
right?
Or The Rock because he's relevant to John Cena's career. So yeah, between those two guys right there, if you're not hitting Rock and John Cena shit, Bray Wyatt's hitting all numbers, and even Danhausen. Danhausen.
I'm hearing them a lot. Danhausen, he's definitely up there, bro.
That would, just a fantasy book and something that is not, well, it'd be a good squash match. But you versus Danhausen. I just had it play in my head. I just have Jaikole hitting him with his finisher move, and that's it.
They just walk in the ring, smack a finisher on him, and pin
they're
him.
They're like standing in front of each other
in 5 minutes,
and they go at each other because Danhausen's doing all this stuff. He's trying to curse them, and he tries to curse them, and he actually gets almost there. But then Jaikole grabs that hand that's about to damn curse him, puts him in his finisher move, and drops him.
Nice.
Yeah, that's how I would book that.
That's a good squash match. I like that. Yeah,
because you get to see Danhausen.
Yeah.
and get to see jaikole. But you get to see them in a match together. I'm crazy, dude. Oh man, that's why I like to do my booking on the game because I can do whatever the hell I want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Y'all check out my Lick My Plate gaming channel, man. It's crazy.
Oh yeah.
shit.
So we're close to the end.
Hey,
Let's let
yeah.
our guy Kole promote his stuff.
Yes, plugs.
Put plugs for your stuff.
Okay. So what we have going on coming up actually is it's in Allentown, Pennsylvania. It's actually a benefit show. March the 18th. It's actually a benefit show for John Rambo. This is going to be a NWL show, House of Pain Pro Wrestling fundraiser. March the 18th. You know, time. 7 p.m. You know, be out there for that. Also, C3W, the Cannabis Festival. That's going to be in April 22nd. C3W Wrestling, DC Cannabis Festival. So you know that's going to be crazy.
When is that?
If you can make it,
When is that?
That's April the 22nd, Washington, D.C. Cannabis Festival. They do it every year. We got a big wrestling ring and a lot of vendors out there. It's going to be cool. It's an all-day event. We probably might have maybe two shows that day. Cannabis Festival, if you can make it, bro. You know, definitely come out there.
In DC?
Washington, D.C.
Washington, D.C. Yep.
Wow.
C3W Cannabis Festival. Now, it's just not,
April
it's just not us. It's a lot of different vendors and stuff like that, bro.
That's cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
And April the 29th, Titan Wrestling in New Jersey. That's a good company. That's going to be my second time there. Packed House, New Jersey. I love New Jersey shows. I love New Jersey, to be honest with you. As far as the wrestling scene is cool, too. So, Titan Wrestling, that's all I got right now. I'll get you guys some other dates as they come through.
Okay.
And another thing also, I'm actually working on a documentary with a production company. We're working on a documentary about my wrestling career and different stories and everything that we're working on to get this on streaming platforms. But I didn't put the news out there yet because we're still in the process of writing the story for it and getting everything. But we're going to start filming in the next 2 months, month or so.
Awesome. Send me everything I need to know about that when it happens and when it drops so I can review it, promote it, and all that stuff on my channel.
Absolutely.
And
absolutely.
I'm definitely trying to get back into my indie stuff, or not just indie stuff, but just stuff that's not televised, because the format podcast does a lot of that. But I've been trying to introduce Joe Kole over here to all the indie stuff, so I'm trying to diverse the show a little bit from old school to the new school.
Right.
And is there anything else that?
No. I can't think of anything.
I'm not.
I did want to say something about the game, man. When you do the WWE creations, bro, that shit is very detailed. It's crazy.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, dude. That means a lot to me.
Check out Lick My Plate Gaming for creations by Matt Jackson.
Yep, definitely. Lick My Plate Gaming.
Yep. I'll follow that page.
Yeah. Thank you. But yeah, I got out of it for a little while. I gotten lazy with it. I was lazy booking. But anyway, I download other people's creations now, but I do actually work on some here and there. I'm trying to do Sing Crowley for like the whole time 2K22 is coming out. Now 2K23 is coming out in March, and I don't know what the hell. And so I've been creating my friends.
Why is it coming out so early?
I know. I create my friends now. I created Joe Kole.
Don't they usually release them around Christmas time?
Yeah, well, they're going March this year, man.
That's
they're
ridiculous.
Just like going all balls deep in it, man. It's just ridiculous, man. I think they should have some time in it. I think they just need to release one game. I was thinking to myself earlier. Put out one game and do what Fortnite does and keep adding characters later. And once a character gets fired, then take them off to fucking buy it where you can't buy them no more. I mean, it's easy as that.
It'd just be an internet-based WWE
It's easy as that.
instead of,
It's easy as that. And then just upgrade the graphics like damn Fortnite does it. I hate to say it, but Fortnite is fucking king of the crop when it comes to doing shit like that.
That's my game, bro. You gotta holler at me when I'm
Oh
on
my
Fortnite.
God, what do you play it on?
I got PlayStation, but I just bought an Xbox too.
Oh hell yeah! I don't give a shit what
It's
console.
cross-platform
I know.
anyway.
I don't give a shit. Send me your shit for
Oh, yeah.
Xbox. I guess could be probably
Yeah.
easier. Just send me your shit.
Yeah, okay.
And yo,
Because I got to download it on Xbox, but I definitely play it on PS4, on PS all the time. But yeah, I definitely download it on there too.
hell yeah, we'll become friends on there, and we'll play games and
We can
shit with
play.
my squad.
Yeah.
And I'll upload footage of that shit and be like, you
Yeah.
know, tagging jaikole in the fucking thing. Played Fortnite with jaikole. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man, I'm excited.
That's a fucking game.
Yeah. Oh, awesome, dude.
Yeah,
Awesome. Dude, that's fucking great. I've got like a clan over here of
We'll
Fortnite.
get another.
Right.
That
That's
sounds
my
cool
shit.
for the
Yeah.
future right there, man. Fucking for the
Oh,
Lick My Plate
absolutely.
channel.
You put that free ball them in.
That is going to be great. Oh, man.
Absolutely.
Well,
Got my brain's fucking working. My brain is fucking excited and stuff. I love that game.
this has been
The
the High as Fuck podcast with your boys, Joe Cool and Matt Jackson.
And Ja.
And Ja Cole,
The King Beast,
the
baby.
King Beast.
We
Thank
out, baby.
you.
We out.
We out, y'all.
Like and subscribe.